Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming in as always. Just making sure my mic is on. What was today? Today we had a pretty good day actually. Miners were up, Bitcoin was up. IREN provided us some great numbers. We're going to get into like a mini deep dive on IREN here. They've done a fantastic job here, obviously blowing away my expectations and I think everybody else's expectations of what they could do for July here. They came out to be the #1 miner, it looks like right now, for production. So we'll take a look at that. We'll look at our updated price targets for them right now based on what they're generating in July going forward as well. So we'll look at that. We'll look at some bullish news on Bitcoin miners as well. And then we'll get into Q&A. Maybe we'll look at Cypher, what their EPS might be tomorrow, along with Cleanspark. They're reporting tomorrow. So we'll take a look at those maybe towards the end and get into Q&A. Okay? But as always, we got to go through this as part of the deal here. Not financial advice for them only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what happened with Bitcoin today and the miners as well. So if we look at it, where am I going here? I'm going here. Okay. So Bitcoin was up a little bit today. It came back up to where it was the other day on Monday. So we were back up 0.8%. We closed at 115,028 and some change there. It's down a little bit in the new day for Thursday here, but it's not too bad. Markets overall were in the green as well today. Ethereum was also in the green today. It was up 2% on that. Miners had a pretty good day. Bitfarms was up 3.25%, a nice little 3-day winning streak here on that one. BitTF was up 1.8%. Kang was up 1.2%. That one's having a little bit of a 3-day winning streak there as well. Cypher was up today 3.99%. Cleanspark was up 1.57% after being down today. So it's having a nice 3-day winning streak as well. CORZ was up a little bit, 0.21%. Again, 3-day winning streak there. Hive was up 2.42%. Same thing, a little winning streak there. HUT8 was up 2%. IREN was up huge today, 11.37%. Had a really great day today. I think it came out based on the news that came out for it. Them also plugging in some GPUs for AI stuff. That I think helps as well. Their revenue is increasing a little bit as well for that, and it should increase even more. We'll talk about it here shortly. Mara was up 1.73%. Riot was up 4.76% after being down quite a bit today. Pulled back up though. And Wolf was up 1.78%. A nice 3-day winning streak there as well for them. MicroStrategy was up 2.12%. Galaxy was down 1.6%. XYZ or Block was down, up 1.12%. Coin was up 1.8%. Metaplanet was up 5.5% there. And the rest you can see here as well, how those all stacked up. Small miners were mixed, half and half. Half were in the green, half were in the red. And that one, the Bitcoin miner ETFs were in the green, up nicely, about 3.5% to 2% overall. And then the Ethereum holding companies were up quite nicely today as well. So BitDigital was up 9.21% there to $3.44. BTCS was up 1.94%. BMNR was up nicely today, 15.5%. Game was up 13.8%, also up nicely. SBET was up 9.4%. And let's take a look at the Bitcoin dominance here really quick. It was down a little bit today, and it's down a little bit in the new day as well. It was down 0.26 to 61.68% there. So overall, not too bad. Let's see here. Bitcoin, where do I go? I'm going to go here. Bitcoin performance here, we're down 0.73% on August so far as it is. Bitcoin ETF inflows, if we look at that really quick as well. For yesterday, do we have anything for today? Let's refresh this page, see if this pops up. Today looks like we got some positive EPS inflows coming into it. So that's looking pretty good there. We'll see where IBIT comes in at. If that's positive, that'll be good. We'll be actually positive for that as well. So we'll see. Some bullish news stories that we do have here on BTC, and I'm going to go here on this. There we go. So this is just in. Galaxy Digital is buying Bitcoin while selling Ethereum and XRP. Coinbase also bought Bitcoin and sold Ethereum in Q2. Pretty interesting there, right? Having a little rotation happening from Ethereum to Bitcoin. Bitcoin, we're seeing more and more adoption happening here, which is great. Next here that we have Bitcoin native institutional digital asset management platform Parataxis holdings to go public via combination with Silverbox Corp V. So the asset management manager Parataxis Holdings announces it will buy up to $640 million in Bitcoin for its treasury reserves. Right, another company that's going to be adding Bitcoin to their stack there, along with a bunch of others that we're seeing here. The list just keeps growing and growing, which I love seeing. I'm sure you guys do as well. And next here we have, let's see here, Smarter Web UK launches Smarter Convert, the UK's first Bitcoin denominated convertible bond. 21 million fully subscribed by TOBAM. Supports Bitcoin treasury expansion, premium equity conversion with downside protection. So more adoption, more ways we can use Bitcoin and everything else. So that's all great news there. And let's quickly get into IREN here. Get into their update because it was a fantastic update from them. So if we go back to the miners news here on that, and let's get into, where do we want to go? We want to go, actually, I want to go here. There we go. All right, so here's what we got. So July update, right? Here's what we have. I'm going to try to highlight some of the things here as well. The only thing I don't like with IREN is they put out these press releases, but they're in PDF format. So then I got to try and highlight things in like Adobe or Apple's version of markup, things like that. But it works out okay. I think we're going to be okay here. So obviously they're still at 50 exahash here, right? Right there. And why is that not working for me? Let's just go with this one here. Let's see how this works. We'll do that. All right, right, 50 exahash right there. We got that going for us. Revenue of 86.5 million. Total data center capacity was 810 million there. July net electricity cost was 20 million, very, very low. They now have 4.3 thousand NVIDIA GPUs installed, and July hardware profit was 66 million basically. The great thing is obviously record revenue, right? Got that. AI Cloud expanded with 2.4 thousand NVIDIA B200 and B300 GPUs. Right, so that's great. Initial B200 shipments completed and fully contracted. That's awesome. 50 megawatt Horizon, one liquid cooled AI data center on track for Q4 of 2025. So that's still on track. So that's great. And then Mackenzie fiber upgrade complete, further enhancing our ability to support continued growth of AI Cloud beyond Prince George. That's awesome. And then 1.4 gigawatt Sweetwater, one civil and electrical works are continuing. So that's great there as well. Going down here, key mining metrics for them along with AI production here. So average Bitcoin operating hash rate was 45.4. Bitcoin mined 728 BTC. That beats Mara, that beats Cleanspark for the month there as the top miner along with Kango. Kango was actually did pretty good there as well. Revenue per Bitcoin mined at an average price of 114,891. Net electricity cost per Bitcoin, 27,976, right? They have more hash rate along with the network difficulty increasing. That's going to go up over time. Revenue, nice revenue, 83.6 million there from that. Net electricity cost came in. Hardware profit, 63.3 million. Hardware profit, 76%. Awesome. Nice improvement from the 75 that we saw here in June as well. AI Cloud Services revenue came in at 2.3 million. So that's a nice increase over the 2.2 million that we had there. And then net electricity costs was only 0.04 million there compared to 0.03. They have more miners, or not miners, more GPUs installed. So I think that's going to be the reason why. We still have hardware profit margin of 98% here. And we had the same thing at 98% there. So all of those metrics are still looking really good there for us, which is looking really, really good. Going down here, what else do we have here? Management commentary really quick here. We delivered another month of record revenue, 86 million, and record hardware profits of 66 million in July, supported by strong Bitcoin mining economics and continued demand for our AI cloud services, said Daniel Roberts, co-founder and co-CEO. Going down here, technical commentary, AI cloud services. They have a diverse customer mix. Contract terms ranging from on-demand to 3 years, including through white-labeled compute with leading US AI cloud providers. Hopper GPUs generating annualized run rate revenue of 28 million, so that's nice there. Blackwell GPUs procured. Initial delivery of 256 B200s already contracted with customer, with remaining 1.1 thousand B200s and 1.1 thousand B300s scheduled for delivery at Prince George over the coming months. So that's looking pretty good there as well. What else do we have here? All data centers, AI data centers, Mackenzie and dual fiber, we talked about that. Customer work streams progressing, continued engagement across a range of structures such as powered shells, built to suit, and turnkey co-location across the site portfolio, including Childers and Sweetwater. So that's good there. Procurement continued to secure long lead equipment to enable rapid expansion of liquid cooled capacity at Childers beyond the initial 50 megawatt Horizon development, including chillers, dry coolers, CDUs, and diesel generators. Those are usually like the long lead time items there. Hopefully they can get those relatively quickly. Bitcoin mining, right? Record monthly revenue, maintaining strong and resilient margins. Yep. Let's see, they're at 15 joules per terahash with electricity cost of 3.6 at that point in July. but that was offset by higher Bitcoin prices, so that's looking still good there. Significant cash flow potential. 50 exahash generates 830 million illustrative annualized hardware profit. I have them a little higher than that, but I'm also including. We'll take a look at what numbers I have there, but I have like a 1 billion annual run rate for them. And then they got the events here and project update, Childress. You guys can read all that stuff. Sweetwater, all the stuff that's progressing there. And sites that they have currently, right? Mackenzie, Prince George, Canal Flats, Childress in Texas, and Sweetwater 2 as well. And then assumptions and notes, reconciliation of non-GAAP metrics. Okay, great stuff there. Let's take a look at the numbers that I do have for them here. And we're going to do a little historical review on them as well. So if we go back to here is where I want to go. Yep, all right, perfect. Okay, so here's what we got. Shares outstanding 224 million roughly. Stock price today is actually higher. I forgot to update the prices again on these guys. Probably should have done that, but they're at $18. Something so that's probably close to $4 billion. Market cap right now as it is. Performance over the last 12 weeks has been really good, up 118% from 12 weeks ago, up 57, almost 58% from 8 weeks ago. They're down 5% from 4 weeks ago and down 13% last week, but we saw that with a lot of the miners here recently. Current hash rate, 50 exahash. Future hash rate, still at 50 exahash, right? They're not planning to grow anytime soon. At least they haven't stated anything like that. We have to wait until they provide us with their quarterly results to actually find out if there's going to be any growth. I doubt that there will be any growth, though. So they're fully installed as it is right now. They don't hodl any Bitcoin. Right, BTC production here over the last 12 months. Nice increase from where they were just last year at 222 Bitcoin. 728 Bitcoin now for the month of July here last month. That is a fantastic number there. Bitcoin revenue also. Look at the revenue increases that we've seen here from them. They were at 14 million roughly in July of last year. Now it's 83, almost 84 million here for them right now as it is. Let's see. Also, AI revenue here. I added that in there for them as well because they're actually including that in their monthly updates here, so which I like. So we're actually able to track this over the last year, basically. And last year they were at 1.3 million in revenue per month on it. This time around they're at 2.3, so a nice increase in that. That has pretty much doubled for them year over year, which is nice. And they continue to add in more GPUs that should help out there. Hash rate, like we talked about, 50 exahash are pretty much fully installed there. Bitcoin sold, they sold 728, basically what they mined. And then they sold everything, so that's 83, almost $84 million in sales there. And Bitcoin per exahash efficiency, 14.56. I think that is the highest right now. We still have a couple miners to report. Hive typically has really good numbers as well. We'll see if Hive can beat them. But this is the number to beat right now. 14.56 BTC per exahash is really, really, really good here. So great month for them. Going down here, we'll look at the institutions and analyst ratings here. Institutions did increase to 245. Shares also increased to 148.5 million. Percentage owned is now 71.83%. We now have, for the strong buy ratings, 8, buy ratings 1, hold ratings 3, 0 underperforms, 0 sells. Price targets went up a little bit here to 26 for the high, average 22, and the low went up to 16 as well. So we've had an increase across the board there as it is. And then looking at the production here for the month of July, I got them operating for approximately 28.8 days, so almost 29 days. So that's really, really good. So it looks like they curtailed for about 2 days roughly, give or take a little bit, right? Which is fantastic, which is the best numbers that we have out of all the miners right now as it is. Considering it was hot as well, this is definitely a really, really good operational update from them and overall operational uptime. So they did a great job there. And that got us to the 83.974 million, which is based on the revenue here on Bitcoin's average price for the month of July, and where the network hash rate was and all that stuff at that point. So based on this, where do I see them at potentially? Well, I updated their future estimates, right? Future estimates include 2.3 million of monthly HPC revenue, plus their monthly revenue for July Bitcoin mining side of things. And that's how I was able to get them to a future revenue, 12 times current month revenue of $1 billion, right? If you include all that stuff, if it stays the same, or if it even improves going forward, which would be nice, Bitcoin goes up in value. They get more GPUs installed, more customers in there as well. That could go to, a couple $1 million or a month. That should all increase as well. That should provide us with a lot better outlook for them. So based on that, I have them now between $34, $59, and $51, right? If they were to be maybe possibly fairly valued. Now, the HPCI part of it is a question. Can they get a customer there, right? Well, they do have customers now, but can they get a large customer, a large enterprise customer or a large hyperscaler for the megawatts that they have available, about 2 gigawatts that's available there in the coming years? That would even pump them up even higher, right? Depending where they go, as long as they don't dilute too much. And like I said, we'll have to wait until they report later on this month. I think they will report for the fiscal year end, which ended in June there. So we'll have to wait and see on that, see how much they diluted. But with them selling a lot of the stuff that they mine right now, they're able to fund a lot of that growth through that, and then hopefully dilute less because of it. They also got another a recent convertible note as well to help them out. So, right, that's kind of pushed out the dilution part of it a little bit at least. So we'll see. So that's IREN in a nutshell. I mean, what can I say about them? Oh, man, great execution, right? Great execution is all really I can say is, and hopefully this continues going forward as well. Right, I've been talking about IREN for a long time, probably since 2022, I think. I've been talking about them. And that's the reason why I invested in them, was just their execution here recently in the last year and a half or so, and their growth in Bitcoin mining, and now with the possibility of HPCI potential, it just makes it a no-brainer to be in it. Along with Cleanspark, right? Cleanspark has always been a really good performer as well and performed really well. Monthly Bitcoin mining operations and things like that. We'll see if this was just a hiccup for Cleanspark this past month of July, whether they can get back to a more reasonable uptime. I think they can. We did get a post from Matthew Schultz, during July, that they did have some issues at one of their sites, and they were rectifying it with upgrades to the system there. So I think that also contributed to it, and then the heat obviously contributed to it as well. So hopefully those are all fixed, and we get a much better production update from them going forward as well. So, but I love IREN and I love Cleanspark. I think those two are the best out of the bunch here of everybody. But that's just me, right? That's my own take on it. Let's take a look at a little historical roadmap back on IREN when we started covering them. So this goes all the way back to January of 2022 when I first started covering IREN, and it goes all the way through. There's a lot of data here. So I just kind of pulled up 3 charts here on it, BTC, revenue, and hash rate, just to kind of look to where they were and where they are right now. And it's been a fantastic journey for them. So they started out in 2022, in January, is when I started covering them. At that point, they had about 800 petahash of installed hash rate. They were generating about 5 million in revenue, 126 Bitcoin at that point. At that point, the miners were getting 900 Bitcoin per day from the block rewards. Now we're down half of that to 450 as well. And you can see that over the first year, things started to increase quite nicely for them. This is kind of when I started noticing them and started going, okay, these guys are doing pretty good here. We got to October, right? They mined 448 Bitcoin. They're really, really good update there. And revenue also increased to 9. This was when Bitcoin was actually coming down in value, so it was kind of hard to get a nice pump on that. They basically almost 4x their Bitcoin production, but you can see that their revenue here was only less than 2x, right? It only got to about 9 million and change there roughly. But their hash rate did grow to 3.3 exahash at that point in October. And then October was basically like almost the peak bottom of Bitcoin, right? When it got down to like 15,000 something in December, which I think was the bottom at that point. A lot of companies were in trouble at that point. They also had the special purpose vehicles for the miners there that they were installing. And based on Bitcoin price going down in value, they were just not generating enough cash flow from those machines to cover the debt there. So they had to actually return all those machines back to the lender, which I think they're still battling the lawsuit there with the lender right now as it is. We'll see what comes of that. But that was obviously a turning point for them a little bit. That made me pause a little bit and go, okay, what's going on here? Because actually at that point I was looking to invest in them of 2022 and into November there. But I saw what happened with the special purpose vehicle loans. I was like, okay, let's see what happens here. How do they do? How do they get themselves out of this going forward? And can they still grow, continue to grow beyond that, right? So we were at 3.3 exahash. The next month when they returned those machines, they were down to 1.4 exahash. So almost 2 exahash being wiped out, right? Saw a huge drop in Bitcoin production as well from 448 to 151. That's a sizable drop. So I wanted to kind of keep an eye on them, see how they do going forward. And sure enough, they didn't disappoint. They got right back to work and installed even more machines here in the next couple months. By March of 2023, they had 2,000 exahash, or 2,000, yeah, 2 exahash, sorry, 2 exahash, 2,000 petahash, 2 exahash there. Revenue started to climb as well to 4 million. Then we got 9 million as Bitcoin was starting to come back up a little bit here. And at that point, their production also started to increase here, right? And then in April of 2023, they got to 5.5 exahash. Revenue jumped twice, doubled basically to 9 million. Bitcoin production also increased to 319 at that point. May was a really good month for them, 508. They got to they were still at 5.5, but 14 million in revenue. Bitcoin price was going up. Things were looking much better for them at that point. And then we saw them kind of be stuck at the 5.5 range for a while, and it got to 5.6, 5.7. And by end of December of 2023, they were at 5.7 at that point. Still mining pretty good, right? Revenues were kind of up and down depending where Bitcoin price was at that point. But we saw the Bitcoin production going down as the network hash rate was increasing. Well, they weren't increasing their hash rate at all. So I was still keeping an eye on them at that point. And then finally, right around, I think it was end of first quarter, early second quarter of 2024, when they came out saying that they're going to be growing to, was it 20 exahash or 30 exahash? And then they updated that to that they're growing to 50 exahash, right? That's the one I'm like, okay, time to buy in. And that's kind of what I did at that point is I sold quite a few shares of Cleanspark and bought a bunch into IREN at that point. And that was a really good decision at that point. So I got in somewhere, I think it was April, May. I'd have to look back at my buy-ins at that point, but somewhere around there that I bought in. And their hash rate continued to grow, right? So we saw huge growth in 2024 as well, where they started out 2024, let's see, at 6.2 exahash. By the end of the year, they got to 32 exahash. So that was basically a 5x in growth here in just 1 year. And that was a fantastic growth for them. And they definitely did a nice job there. Revenues also increased to 52 million from the start of the year at 15 million. That was a nice increase there. Bitcoin production, obviously we had the halving event happen in May, right? So we saw the drop in Bitcoin mined there, but they continued to increase their hash rate, which helped them also increase their number of Bitcoins being mined there, along with their revenues there. And getting towards to where we are right now, basically, they continue to install more and more. So we started the year out with 32 exahash, and then they got to 50 exahash here by June, right? By the end of June here. And we've seen that revenue increase here, even though Bitcoin did come down here at the end of first quarter, and then finally started to go back up in the second quarter, and then obviously in the third quarter we're doing a lot better here as it is. But Bitcoin production has continued to increase. So that's just a quick review of IREN there and how they have performed over the couple of years here that we've been tracking them. They've done a fantastic job of growing, building out, and looking for ways to expand into the HPCI business. They do have optionality there with many ways that they could offer to different customers and clients. But they could also go at it alone if they wanted to. It's going to be a little bit more costly, right, if you go at it alone and try to be a hyperscaler. But it is an optionality that they have there. Or they could go back to Bitcoin mining. Bitcoin mining is very profitable. They could go back to that. So this looks, I love what I'm seeing here, at least, right? Right now, at least we're going to be flat on exahash growth for the time being until we get an update from them. We don't know when they might continue that growth there going forward. But as long as Bitcoin continues to go up, and if Bitcoin goes up faster, percentage-wise, than the network hash rate will go up, they still should be able to make more and more revenue here. But we shall see. All right, so I'm still really bullish on them. And I guess really quick, we'll just take a look at to see where I think Cypher might be coming in at for EPS and things like that, where they will be, along with Cleanspark. We did this, I think, last week. We'll kind of review it really quick here as well on it. And then we'll get into Q&A as well. There it is, EPS. Okay. So Cypher right now, I'm looking somewhere between a negative 5 cents with depreciation, depending on how much depreciation comes in at, and depending on how much they have for stock-based compensation, along with just general cost, right? If they were able to keep pretty lean, they might be able to squeak out a positive EPS. And then if we look at the EPS estimates here on not including depreciation, we're about 7 cents there. But I think I have some numbers here at the end here. Let's see, revenue minus HODL depreciation. Cypher, yeah, I'm looking at maybe negative 43 million. I don't think they have gotten to scale yet. And they need to be a higher hash rate in order to reach the scale there, I think. We'll see what their numbers come in, but I think they're going to be negative EPS on that one. Cleanspark, on the other hand, I think should be EPS positive without the FASB impact. but that'll be dependent as well on stock-based compensation, depreciation. What does that come in at, right? Because right now I'm using depreciation of approximately 78.9 million, which is what we saw in Q1 for them. So if that's higher, right, if it's higher by another 15 million, then that might offset the positive side of things here. So I'm in between, somewhere between $1.41 and $1.13 on the EPS side. Also dependent on the FASB impact. Will that, they have $200 million staked, not staked, but backed by BTC with a loan that they have at Coinbase, or a revolving line of credit, basically. Don't know how how that impacts the FSB, revaluation of the Bitcoins that they have. So there might be off. So I could be off. I might be a little high here on this, but I still think they might be able to get close to $1, right, at this point. So that's kind of where I'm looking at those guys as it is right now. Cleanspark, I think, has gotten to scale. They have been able to get to 50 exahash. Obviously, that helps tremendously. And that helps. That possibility is there that as Bitcoin goes up in value higher, they might not have to dilute or dilute very little next year to continue their growth going forward, because they could possibly fund the operations and growth through the generation of revenue through Bitcoin mining. That was always my thought process, that these guys need to get to scale eventually, right? Whether I didn't know what the exahash was going to be for each company. As each company is different, it's always dependent on what do you pay yourself, right? What's your overhead cost? What's your electrical cost? And everything else. So it might be different for each company here. Cleanspark might be at 50 exahash, where they can get to scale and be able to fund operations, fund growth through that without having to dilute. For other companies, it might be 60 exahash, 70 exahash, depending on their costs again. If they have high overhead, high SG&A, all those other things, it might be that they have to be higher at that point to reach scale. And some companies might be actually lower, right? For IREN, it might be actually that they need to be like at 40 exahash to reach scale, which, they were already profitable the first quarter, second quarter as well. They were profitable, or at least we're thinking that they're going to be profitable. They've been profitable 2 quarters, right? Q4 last year, Q1, and this would be the third quarter that they might be profitable as well. So that might have been a lot lower exahash for them to get to scale. Again, depends on cost of electricity, what you pay yourself, all that other stuff goes into it. But that's always been my kind of thought process, is these guys need to get to scale in order to not dilute the crap out of shareholders. And we're seeing that with some of these guys happening here now, which is great to see, because that was kind of my theory all along. You need to get to a certain size, scale, in order for it to make sense. And the other good part is, if we don't have another huge bear market in Bitcoin where we go down 80%, that could be really good for the miners, where they could be profitable for an extended period of time, where before we were profitable at most 3 to 4 quarters during a bull run, and then the miners were, dog poop at the end of that. But this time around, we might actually see that the miners could be profitable for 5, 6, 7, 8 quarters, if not more. But that all depends where Bitcoin goes on that. So that would be fun to see, fun to witness as well. All right, but that's it. As always, spreadsheets available to my Patreon members. Link for that is down in the description if you want to join. If not, that is okay. You get the data here anyways. But definitely helps support what I do. A couple bucks a month there, and you also get access to our private Discord server as well. So I am really happy with IREN. I'm also really happy with Cleanspark as well. Cleanspark, yes, has been performing as well, but I think their time will come when Bitcoin goes up. I think. We'll see. I'm still positive on them. I'm still in the green, so I'm not too worried about it. But let's get into Q&A here, see what you guys have to say as far as questions or anything like that, and we'll call it a day. As always, questions, if you could preface those with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it. And I'm going to work my way up as always, and I'll work my way down. And we'll try to get through all the questions. Well, we'll get through all the questions like we always do. We might go a little long, but we'll get through all the questions. All right, let's see what we got here. All right. Right now, it's 68% of you believe that Bitcoin's going to go up in value in the next couple of weeks, which is nice to see. What else do we have here? Taj says, smash the like button, appreciate that. Alexander bought more BTR today, okay. Let's see. 4-year cycle says, Cleanspark, the pure play miner, got smoked by IREN, whose main focus is AI HPC. Well, it's not their main focus. It's always been Bitcoin and then AI. Now it's kind of going into AI more so than anything else. But yeah, I mean, Cleanspark had a bad month. I wasn't a bad month. I wouldn't say it wasn't a great month. It was a good month. I would just say that. Let's see what else do we have here. All right, Neville says that chess move Bitfarms made with T5 was solid. T5 has all the hyperscalers as clients, so they know exactly what they want, and now Bitfarms will literally be building it. Well, hopefully that's going to be the case. Like I talked about it, what was it, yesterday or the day before, about it, and I said the same thing, right? They have the clients. That's a good thing. They can. It's who you know, and who you know can help you out a lot, and maybe T5 can help out a lot with Bitfarms does. We'll see. DEFCON 2 says, IREN will always play second fiddle to Mara. They're in the wasteland of West Texas where there's no need to curtail much, if at all. That IREN's at the wasteland? I don't know that. I don't know much about Texas other than it's big state and pro-Bitcoin there. All right, Morton's got a question here. I own Cleanspark and IREN. Why do the IREN-only fanboys go on the Cleanspark attack when IREN has a great day? It's weird, like monkeys jumping up and down. They're just happy, right? They got into IREN and then get into Cleanspark. You're rooting for your team, basically. I got both of them, so I'm rooting for both of them. I'm happy that IREN had a fantastic month. I'm happy that Cleanspark had a good month. I wish it was a little bit better, but I think that was just a one-off for them because historically, they've done a fantastic job. So I think it's just one of those things where things piled up on them, the heat, and then the issue of one of their facilities kind of hurt them a little bit. Hopefully that gets fixed, and we're back on the wagon here going forward. All right, Neville says, it's a slam dunk for Bitfarms once it's built. I just need to hear the time frame unless the 4-year cycle is dead. Well, time frame is always important for any of these guys, whether it's Bitfarms or IREN or anybody. We definitely need to have... Well, the faster the better, obviously, with any of this stuff. But we'll see. Neville says, IREN took that crown easily. From Mara, yeah, definitely. At middle of July, we were thinking it might be either Cleanspark or IREN that overtakes them, right? Mara wasn't performing that well as far as their operations were concerned, with the number of blocks being one and things like that. By the end of the month, Mara was able to kind of pull it together a little bit and outpace... Cleanspark there, we kind of saw that happening, but we didn't know what was going on with IREN, and IREN definitely surprised us there, so that was great. Neville says, make sure you give Seb a like. I appreciate that, Neville. Let's see, 75 watching, 14 likes. Come on, guys. It doesn't, yeah, guys, and gals, because there's plenty of gals in here as well. If you guys would be so kind, hit the like button. Helps the YouTube algorithm, helps me out. Let's see. Chris says, IREN is complete junk. All right. Let's see, Victor's got a question here. Is it possible Wall Street would suppress the price of SBET to make BitMine win? Could there be some collusion there going on? Maybe, I don't know. Again, it's maybe who you know, but I don't know. I think, I don't know. That I do not know. Let's see, DEFCON says, IREN's HPC site is 50 megawatts, 25 more megawatts, and they'll reach JP Morgan's target. Okay. Tej is asking, guys, when is White Fiber IPO? I thought it was this week sometime, but I haven't seen anything on it yet. Andrew Cross here. Hi Seb, great day. Happy I added to my IREN shares a couple of weeks ago. Hoping Cleanspark and Cypher also have good results. Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's been great. Things are starting to pop up there. Sadie, how you doing? Thank you so much for the likes. Let's see. DEFCON 2 says, I doubt there will be any growth. Seb talking about IREN. You heard it, folks. Seb talking about IREN. Growth in hash rate or anything like that? I'm not sure what you're talking about growth. All right, Daniel's got a question here. I do think Cleanspark will have its day as well. After the IREN huge run up lately, would you agree that converting a good chunk of my IREN to add to my already big Cleanspark bag would be a great move now? I don't know how much you have of Cleanspark or how much you have of IREN, but if you have a big bag already, I would just hold on to what you have because I think IREN still has more room to run. And if they get an HPCI deal with somebody, whether it's enterprise grade customer or hyperscaler or something like that, that could definitely lift up the stock a lot more. I mean, the run rate right now is fantastic for revenue as it is. So I would hold on to it. I wouldn't switch things around unless you have like, you're up huge, like you're up 500% on IREN, and maybe you take off a little bit and put it into Cleanspark at that point, right? But that's up to you. Okay. DGHI says it's undervalued a lot. Cleanspark, it is. Yeah, it should be in the 20s, I think. Let's see, Seb, if there's no growth, the Bitcoin revenue will go down. You said it so many times, and IREN has ATM to fund their growth, but with the margins like that, they're not growing. Growth, yeah. So if they don't grow in their hash rate, so I've said this before, but it's not just that revenue is going to go down. Their Bitcoin production is going to go down, right? The amount of BTC that they mine is going to go down, but as long as Bitcoin goes up faster, percentage-wise, than the network hash rate does, then they can actually still generate more revenue that way along the way. So that's the way it can kind of still work out that way, right? So if Bitcoin goes up, say, in a month, 10%, and the network hash rate only goes up 5%, more or less. They're still going to be able to generate more revenue. Yes, their Bitcoin mine is going to be lower, but the revenue is going to be higher, right? Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Morton's got a question. Any idea when Cleanspark gets to its next level of future hash rate and what that will be? Well, their next level is supposed to be around 60 plus. We don't know what the plus is, but they're saying 60 plus exahash by the end of the year. So in the next 5 months, basically, is when we should be seeing that growth. All right, Dynamite with this question. Did you see White Fiber IPO tomorrow? Exciting times ahead. I did not. I've been trying to pay attention to that one, but I might have missed it. So if it is tomorrow, that's going to be exciting to see what that one goes in at. I think it's supposed to have a, 100 million valuation, I think, right? I think that's where it's supposed to come in at. See, DGF says, no miner growing is a flag, in my opinion. Not necessarily, depending on the timing, right? If Bitcoin does go up in value here in the next 6 months to a year, maybe even longer, it might be actually a pretty good thing not to do that, especially if you want to get into HPCI or something like that. It might be. I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying it might be. And we'll find out if that was a good idea in the next year, right? If Bitcoin goes down or something like that, then maybe holding off to where you are right now may also work out pretty well. So there's a couple of ways to play it, as always. Sarmelon Gaming says, IREN is by far the best miner. Efficiency-wise, I mean, they have done a great job here. We'll definitely look at all the miners for the month of July when they all post, probably next week sometime, and we'll compare them all, see how they did. IREN has historically been like in the top 3 here, I think in the last 12 months, so it's nice to see them actually get in the top 1 there. All right, Neil, what would institutions like more, a parabolic Bitcoin and a dump, or an asset that goes up 20% every year with minor corrections? I think they would like the 20% every year with minor corrections. That's just easy, because then that way they can show their investors and say, hey, see, you're making nice returns here. You're beating the S&P 500 with this thing. And they just keep making money on it. Defcon says, you make excuses for Cleanspark. You called it a hiccup because they came in 3rd. Historically, haven't they been like as far as efficiency goes uptime and things like that, they've been like one of the best, right? So the one time being off, can it happen to somebody? Yeah, it can happen to anybody. I saw what happened with IREN here back in 2022. They had to give away or give back 2 exahash when at that time having like 5-7 exahash was huge. So was that a hiccup for IREN at that point? Yeah, it was a hiccup. They recovered from it and did great afterwards. So, right, nobody's going to bat 100 all the time. All right, Andrea says, we need 60 more likes. Come on, gang. Seb deserves a likes. I appreciate that. Thank you, Andrea. Let's see. All right, Sarmelon Gaming. IREN doesn't care about their mining. AP said so in his latest video. Okay. Well, they're generating a heck of a lot of revenue from it if they don't care about it. Plus, their operational uptime was really good, so I'm sure that they care about it. Let's see. Okay, what else we got here? Sorry, trying to find some other questions. You guys are talking about IREN there. Daniel, okay. Question, I understand that your investments are concentrated in miners, Cleanspark and IREN. Are you considering at all an Ethereum Treasury check, BMNR, SBET, or GAME? I am not, no. Again, because I don't think that these guys should get that much of a premium over Ethereum itself. Yes, they can get up, maybe 1.5x MNEV on them at times, maybe even 2x at times. But I don't. Same thing with the Bitcoin treasury companies, right? They should be pretty close to the 1 MNEV, maybe 1.2 at, give it a little bit of a premium, but not 2x, 3x premium on that. So if I wanted to buy the underlying asset itself, I'll just buy Bitcoin or Ethereum outright. Why would I go through one of these companies here? Yeah, they say they get a premium on it, but I don't know. That's just me. What else we got here? Okay, let's see. All right, LP's got a question here. Hey, Sebastian, I've been digging into the data and haven't seen any major whales accumulating on BTC miners with just a few months left in this bull run. Does that concern you at all? I mean, whales, what do you call whales, though? I mean, institutions, I would consider those whales, right? Those guys have 60% to 70% on some of these companies already. They have huge allocations in them. So I think the whales are already in there. See. LG has a question. Does Anthony love it? Anthony Powers? I think so. He loves it when you smash the like button. He sure does. And so does Bryce. What else we got here? Neville. IREN will go ape poop when they announce a deal and BTC rallying will send people into euphoria. I would think so as well. See, CJ's got a question. Is there any plan to interview any of these miners again? I really liked your talk with Hive last time. We'll probably look at that. I think once they start finishing up the reporting their quarterly results, I'll maybe reach out to a couple, see if they want to do anything like that once things slow down a little bit. And it's also, my timing is late at night, right? They want to spend time with their families, or I could possibly do it on the weekends, but then on the weekends, who wants to talk, really? They want to spend time with their family as well. So the time that I do have is not the best time, I think, but we'll see what we can do. All right. Hi, Sebastian. Will you comment to the site for earnings call live in your stream? That is tomorrow morning, right? I believe. At 8 a.m. I believe that's when it's streaming Eastern time, I think it is. No. 9 a.m. Eastern time, I think. That's when I'm at work, so I can't do that. Cleanspark is at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, I think. So I'm still at work at that point. So I have a hard time streaming these guys live when they do provide those conference calls. But I'd like to if I could, but I can't. All right. Let's see. DEFCON 2 says growth companies dilute SEB, no other way around it. I would agree with you there, yeah. But eventually you can possibly get to scale. But they still dilute even. Well, not all, but a lot have diluted, right? I mean, in order for Amazon to get to where they were, they diluted. Google, Microsoft, Apple, all these guys diluted to get to where they are, right? So I'm okay with growth as long as it's accretive. I'm sure you guys are as well. All right. Alim, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Regarding IREN with AI GPU are very expensive and go obsolete soon. Obsolete, like within 3 years, I would say. I wouldn't say obsolete. You can still use them, but with the advances we're seeing in chips and everything else, yeah, it does make it less powerful in that regard. And kind of like what we saw here with Bitcoin mining ASICs as well, right? We started out in 2017 when I got into it. We were at 13.5 terahash on these things. Now we're at 280. We're getting some of these things that are like 1,000 now. So it's just advances in chip. It's going to continue going forward. There's no way of getting around it. Yeah, so you hope you can get your money back within those first 2 to 3 years, and then you can still run them for at least another couple of years after that. Okay, DGHI, BMNR getting dip from media hype, nice size bags. Yeah, I mean, Tom Lee's out all over the place talking about it. Okay, DGF said quantum PC by 35 for like consumer grade PC for quantum. I don't think so. I think it's gonna be a while before we can get quantum computers for on everybody's desktop. All right. Let's see what else we got here. All right. Bang Bang says best miner portfolio in my opinion is IREN, execution AI, Cleanspark execution pre-replay, BitDeer extreme growth possibility plus AI plus best efficiency, 2026 and beyond have held all three for a long while. Okay. I would agree with the first two. BitDeer, yeah, they have a lot of growth happening here later on this year and into next year. Plus, they're making their own chips. There is definitely quite a bit of potential there as well. I would agree with that. All right, Dynamite Uber question. If you search MarketWatch IPO calendar, it lists White Fiber as IPO this week. Okay, so that's coming up this week. Let's see. Yeah. All right, Gary says, Seb, after arguing with you for the past year that equipment depreciation should be included in cost, I've decided to let you win the argument. Okay, and we do include it in all the costs, right? I like to look at just cash costs. Just to see if they're on a cash cost basis, can they actually sustain themselves? But that's just me. Let's see. I figure it will even out when you delete IREN GPU's cost when you start charging those numbers. Okay. All right. What else we got here? All right. How do you see Bitfarms going forward? I think there's potential there. I like the moves that they're making here this year. Right, transitioning. I wasn't too happy about them not getting 21 exahash, but I do like the move being more concentrated in the United States, going after HPCI as well. I like that they have a nice site there in Pennsylvania, and I think they're doing the right things, working with T5, right? So I think that's good, and we'll just have to see if they can get something out of it, though. That's the big thing. I think they're going in the right direction. I think, though, and we need Riot to finalize all the shares that they own in them. Yeah, get rid of those. All right. Classic K-drama clips. Question. Sebastian, better to buy Cleanspark tomorrow before or after earnings? I'm afraid they will announce ATM dilution to fund growth. What are your thoughts? Once bitten, twice shy. I don't know if they're going to announce any. I don't think they have to announce ATM right now. I think they can fund the operations and growth that they want to get to the 10 exahash, additional maybe plus. By the end of the year, I think they can do that with just their operations right now. I think I could be wrong on that. As far as if you want to trade them, I don't trade them. I invested in these guys a couple of years back, right? I've dollar cost average into them. I don't trade these guys because I'm terrible at trading. I'm a little bit better at holding and being patient. So that's the way I've done it. But that's going to be up to you as far as how do you see things playing out at that point. All right. Dynamite says, White Fiber IPO 9x oversubscribed, debut at top of range at 17 and upsized to 9 million plus shares. Just search on Google White Fiber oversubscribed. Okay, that's great. We'll see how it does when it does go public. All right. Gary says, IREN profitability is great. They have more mining profitability than any other miner until at least the next halving. A second profitable miner would be first step in a debate. Okay. Chris says, I'm done with miners, about to enter alts. Good luck, guys. All right, Chris. Wish you all the best there. Let's see. Talked about that one already. Let's see. Rusty says, Riot should trade Jason for IREN's janitor. Neville says, good night. Good night, Neville. Thanks for coming in. Alejandra, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Thanks for everything you do. You are a fantastic person. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming in. Let's see. DGF says, quantum-like blockchain tech upgrades. Well, if we get quantum, we're obviously going to have to upgrade all of the security behind all these things, not only on ASICs for Bitcoin, the coins, but also all of our credit cards, all of our websites, government, everything's going to be updated to a quantum-proof algorithm, security algorithm. That's going to be fun. Okay, talked about that one already. Let's see what else here. All right. There we go. Gary Powell's got a question here. Seb, how did the three companies with huge FSB numbers, MicroStrategy, Mara, and Riot, all drop after big FSB numbers? Smart investors see through that garbage. Even earnings estimates don't include FASB. Yeah, I mean, FSB is definitely not to the great advantage people thought it was going to be for the miners, at least. We've seen that already a couple times when the FSB improvements in HODL, right, and Bitcoin price going up didn't really play out to the favor of the miners, actually. So, yeah, I don't know how I feel. That's why I'm not a big fan of companies and miners, especially diluting just to HODL. I don't think the premium is there for some reason, at least not right now. Will it come back? That I don't know. Bang Bang says BitDeer has the most power access out of the entire sector. One seal miner, 3 and 4s come out. Just hand the crown to BitDeer. I did napkin math. 100 to 150 exahash end of 2026 is possible. Sub 10 joules per terahash. I would have to run the math on, but that doesn't seem out of the question for me. I mean, we got guys that are almost at 60 exahash right now, so that doesn't seem out of the question for me. And if they can get the... But the thing is, they're targeting 5 joules per terahash, I think, on the seal miner 4s. That's if they can get there, right? It's projected right now. Can they get it actually taped out on the dies, on the silicon there? Can that actually work out that way? We'll see, right? I think they could get close to it, but I don't know if they'll get to 5 joules per terahash. We'll see. Okay, Bang Bang says this ignores BitDeer's 950 megawatt Ohio site entirely. But I think they paused Bitcoin expansion there for possible HPCI, right? Wasn't that the case that I heard on that one? DeFi says BMNR will stake Ethereum and rewards will buy Ethereum and also other strategies without dilution, which has not been disclosed. Yeah, I mean, that's one way to do it. Yeah, you could possibly do that. But what are the rewards there right now? What is it, like 2.5%, 3%, something like that? DeFi is asking, would you sell IREN at these levels to convert into Cleanspark? Depending how much you're up, right? If you're up 200, 300%, maybe take a little bit off. Do it that way, but I wouldn't sell everything. I think there's just a lot more upside here for IREN as it is. All right, question. Were those IREN targets at current BTC price? Yes. Yep, that it was. Okay. Trying to see if I get other questions here. Let's see. Mortem says, excuse me, Fintel shows Cleanspark institutional owners are 499 long and only 13 short, only 23 mixed. So who provides the shorting power? Small traders? Maybe. All right. Let's see. Gary says, question, IREN's profitability raises all boats, but IREN investors get PO'd when other miners drain the sea of water with mining losses, huge stock compensation, and giving the space a black eye. I'm with you in that regard too, right? I'm in disbelief on the amount of stock-based compensation, all that stuff that's in the space. And some of those companies, I think, should do better. They should do a lot better in that regard on that one. Okay. Michael says, Trump is a wild man going to put so much tariffs on companies that the price of goods going up will hurt all of us. Yeah, I don't know. It's back and forth with that one. We'll see. Talked about that one already. DeFi. Yep, talked about that one. Victor, with the Fed rates coming, why BTC not going back to 120,000? Well, it might. Well, we're still, what, at least 4 weeks, 5 weeks away from that? Because doesn't the Fed have meetings every 6 weeks, I think? I could be wrong, but I think that's the case. So we still have time there. All right. DeFi, do you see a dip in BTC before rate cuts in September? We could have one more dip. I've talked about that in yesterday's video, I think it was, or the one before on Monday, where I said we could go down to like 108,000. I think that might be our next support line if where we are right now doesn't hold. And that's roughly where the 100 simple, is it 100 or 200 simple day moving average? I'm drawing a blank on it right now. BTC, that would be, if we look at it here, that would be the 100 simple day moving average. Yeah. Right, that's about 108,000 at the bottom end part of it. But we do have some support here around 109,000 as well. So if this 50 SMA gets broken, which it has before as well, we dip below it and we continue to bounce, right? But we didn't come down here, at least last time we didn't come down to the 100 SMA, which was back in June, right? We went down to, what did we go down to? A low of 98,000 here. And then we bounced off of that. Didn't come by the 100 SMA, at least recently here. So as long as we do that and we don't go down to the SMA and break that, we should be right around there, I think, if we do have another dip. Okay, go back here. Let's see. Okay, DFly, love your content. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate you guys coming in as always. Let's see. Victor C says, I thought BTC would forerun the rate cuts. It might, but I don't think it's going to run it this fast out. I think it's when it gets a little bit closer, I think it's going to start running. See, is your IREN price target up based on earnings today? Yeah, so we're looking at July's revenue, multiplying times 12, plus we're adding into it the 2.3 million that they're getting for HBCI as well. Basically combining those and multiplying it times 12, right? So what is their 12-month revenue run rate, more or less, based on that? And then their profitability is, what, 70-some% in Bitcoin mining. So I'm still using kind of the lower end as far as where it could go. And then we're also looking at the possibility of the higher end, because we know that their HBCI business is getting like 98% profit margin there. All right, Gary asks, question with 100% tariffs on semiconductors, IREN needs to focus on Canada's site until that issue gets resolved in the USA. But does that exclude AI chips? Or, yeah, I think that excludes AI chips, I think. I could be wrong. All right, Sean says, sold all my Cleanspark today, Seb, and put it all into Bitfarms. I know I have 12.5 thousand shares of IREN and 100,000 shares of Bitfarms. What do you think? What's the water sound? The water sound is somebody either taking a shower or using the bathroom upstairs. I'm in the cellar, not really cellar, basement, my little dungeon that I call. So you can hear all this stuff. It's not insulated. That's one of the things I want to do here in the next year, potentially, if I make out good on these companies and make good profits. But as far as what do I think of you selling Cleanspark, Bitfarms is way undervalued, and maybe that plays into it. Plus, if they can get an HPCI deal, I think maybe that might not be a bad way to go, right? But I still believe that Cleanspark is still undervalued. Maybe not as much as Bitfarms is, but I own Bitfarms, Cleanspark, and IREN, so I have them both, all three of them actually, and a little bit of Mara. So I'm just holding on to what I have right now as it is. See where we go from here. That's kind of how I'm playing right now. Okay. DeFi says, even my 401k is all miners. I'm a degen. I'm with you there. But mine has grown. Well, mine's not miners. Mine's the miner ETFs. Still miners, though. But it's up huge for me. But I got into it pretty nicely. I got into those miner ETFs right at the bottom, pretty much, when they bottomed out in December of 2022 and January of 2023. My 401k profit sharing plan is looking good. If only my other gains on Cleanspark when I got into it and everything else were as good as that, I'd be set. But I'm still happy with that, at least. So when I do retire, I'll have a nice nest egg, at least right now, unless things go south on me here. All right. What else we got here? Bang, bang. Have 1,000 Cleanspark, $11 calls for Friday, up 100% right now. If Cleanspark can reward me for holding for so long and pump to $12, $13, man, will I be happy camper. Let's go, earnings season. All right, cool. All right, well, I think we've caught up to all the questions here. We're going to call it a day. Let's see. Gary says, DEFCON 2 IREN investors are up 17x in 2.5 years, so Dan has earned his salary. I doubt other miners would be complaining about salary if they returned similar results for shoulders. But Dan, how much is Dan's? I got to look at Dan's. I know Dan's isn't that much. Nor I don't think it's near the 40 or the 60 some odd $1 million that the other two are getting. But yeah, they've done a fantastic job. Yeah, from the bottom to the top, they've done a fantastic job here. They've definitely outperformed not only Bitcoin, but a lot of these miners as well. So congrats to them there. All right, we'll call it a day. Sadie, you're very welcome as always. Thank you for coming in. Let's see, DEFCON 2 says, Mara did much better last time and they didn't go bankrupt like Core, former darling of HPCAI. Yeah, I mean, Mara was the darling in 2021. Man, did that thing go up. Let's see. Okay, we'll call it a day, because otherwise I'm going to just keep reading the comments and questions and everything else. We'll never get out of here. So as always, greatly appreciate you guys coming in, spending a little time with me, spending an hour with me actually, going over all these numbers and figures and discussing these miners in detail. You guys are my out, and hopefully I'm your out as well when it comes to talking about this stuff. So thank you. Really do thank you. Love you all. I will see you guys tomorrow, and then I'm going to be off on Friday and Sunday. We're doing a little short family trip before the kids go back to school. So we're going to do that, and then we'll get back in the swing on things on Monday. On Sunday, I will be joining remotely to host a space with Ernest. I believe we have the Cypher's Tyler Page, the CEO of Cypher, on Sunday, I believe. So that's going to be interesting there. We'll obviously talk about the earnings that they have there. And then, yeah, we'll get back in the swing of things on Monday, I think it is. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, but just letting you guys know in advance. So if you guys want to see me on Friday or Sunday, you guys know I'm still alive. I'm just out spending time with the family. All right? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Until then.